Here is, we'll just give you a couple of segments for those of you who are fortunate not to have seen it, to show you how you missed basically nothing. Here's how it began.
Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans. This happened during a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody, crime at record levels with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world. But they're not laughing anymore.
I mean, they probably are if they heard that speech. I mean, like, what was that? You know, I think people are sympathetic to the idea after like a month in office that you're still dealing with the problems left by the old administration. But after you're in office for a full year, people don't want to hear it anymore. They elected you to improve their lives. And if you're not, or if they perceive that you're not, they don't want to hear that it's not your fault. That it's their, this is not, polls show that overwhelmingly Americans think Trump is responsible for the economy. And it's not because it's Trump. That's Americans think the current president was elected to fix the economy, and if he doesn't, it's his fault. And so Trump demanded 20 minutes of prime time to say, none of this is my fault. This is all Joe Biden. Because he let girls playing boys playing girls sports. It was such an unfocused. It was something that you heard a zillion times from Trump during the campaign. Everybody loves the holidays, and yet at the same time, the holidays are very hectic. You have all kinds of family drama and last-minute shopping and late nights, and it can really make the holidays an endurance test. That's why I'm sharing the Ultimate Holiday Survival Plan, which is CBD from CBD Distillery. Seriously, everything you need to make a more merry holiday is here. You can, for example, stuff your mother's stockings with CBD to help her sleep better, make her less like anxious and agitated and chatty, if that's a problem with your mother. And if it's a problem with your father, you can stuff his stocking with CBD, help put him to sleep, make him calmer. You can gift your fitness friends a pain relief stick for post-workout pain. And then don't forget to grab a little holiday calm for yourself. Every CB Distillery product is made with premium quality, clean ingredients, no fillers or anything artificial, and over 2 million customers and a 100% money-back guarantee. It's the gift you can feel good about giving this year. Give yourself and everyone on your list the gift of better sleep, less stress, and pain relief with CBD from CB Distillery. We're really grateful to them. They have been a sponsor of ours from the very beginning. We have heard nothing but good things about them from the people who have bought their products. I use their products. I genuinely do. I've talked before about the experience I've had with them. And with my promo code Glenn, you can get 25% off on your entire purchase. Visit cbdistillery.com and enter the promo code Glenn for 25% off. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code Glenn. cbdistillery.com. Specific product availability depends on individual state regulations. Here was his attempt to convince Americans that the economy is actually doing really well, even though polls overwhelmingly show that Americans do not think so.
Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our Treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22% and in many states 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now, under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation.
All right, so here's the thing. If people in the United States believe their lives are not doing well economically, it doesn't matter how much you badger them with statistics and tell them that they're wrong, that prices are really falling, that wages are increasing, that their lives are getting better. They don't decide if the economy is good based on statistics that they hear from the White House. They decide based on their own experience. And this was, I think, by far the biggest mistake of Democrats heading into the 2024 campaign. And I said it constantly. Polls showed overwhelmingly that people felt economically suffocated. They hated the economy. They blamed Biden for it. And you would have all these snide MSNBC hosts and writers on the op-ed pages of the New York Times and the Washington Post constantly writing about how dumb people are to believe that they're suffering economically when all the smart economists know that the relevant metrics show that the economy is actually doing well. And they started saying, oh, the problem isn't the economy is doing well. The problem is that we're not communicating well enough to people to make them understand how grateful they should be. You have these very rich MSNBC hosts. Chris Hayes was probably the leader of this. He works an hour a day on his dumb MSNBC partisan show, interviews Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren, Dick Durbin, about how great they are. He's making millions of dollars a year under an MSNBC contract. He's no, the economy is great. These people who think it's not are so stupid. They need to understand the economy is great. Let's just keep telling them how great the economy is. And, eventually they were going to be oh, wow, Chris Hayes is right. It's good for Chris Hayes, that's for sure. But it wasn't for the majority of people, and they were badgering them. I can show you examples all day. I used to talk about this all the time. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary in July of 2022, sounding very much like Donald Trump last night.
Because when you look at inflation, when we look at where we are economically, and we are stronger economically than we have been in history. When you look at the unemployment numbers at 3.6%, when you look at the jobs numbers, more than 8.7 million of new jobs created, that is important.
Now, that wasn't working. Biden was incredibly unpopular. The economy was a major reason why. People didn't think the economy was the greatest ever. They didn't care how many times the White House told them it was, or MSNBC told them they were dumb. So when Karine Jean-Pierre went on The View in the end of 2023, and obviously everybody's thinking about the upcoming election, and the hosts of The View are very nervous, hey, what's going on here? People think you're doing a terrible job with the economy. Here's how Karine Jean-Pierre explained the problem. And again, she sounded exactly like Trump did last night.
It's not doing much to lessen people's anxieties about pocketbook issues like lowering food prices, college tuitions, paying off debt. So what is he doing to address this disconnect?
Well, first of all, thank you for listing out all of our amazing accomplishments or what the president has done to make sure that the economy gets back on its feet.
Down also,
and gas by $1.77 since its peak. Remember, Putin's war caused gas prices to go up. And this is his war against Ukraine. And so, look, it's a very good question. This is one of the reasons I'm here with all of you, right, having the conversation. I appreciate the opportunity to do so. When the president got into the White House, we all know that the economy was at a tailspin, right? We had COVID was just going through this country and the world in a way that was just unfathomable, obviously. And the president came in and had to fix that because obviously the last administration did not have a comprehensive plan. And so we had to come in and do that. And the actions that he took, to your point, really took effect on the economy in a good way. 14 million jobs were created. Unemployment is at a historic low. We have wages are up. And so we got to continue to talk about it, and we're going to continue to do so. If you look at where we are currently right now, we're heading into the holiday seasons. I know I've watched you guys do these segments on the holiday season, and we just finished with Thanksgiving. The prices have gone down, went down on turkey, went down on eggs, went down on goods that Americans truly need, gas prices, as you just mentioned, because of the work that this president has done.
I mean, it was basically verbatim. Like, hey, we just had the holiday season. The price of a turkey went way, the price of eggs were way down. The economy is great. And to the extent it's not, it's because we inherited a gigantic economic mess from Trump. It's verbatim. The same tactic that Democrats tried over and over to address these horrible polling numbers about perceptions of the economy and their role in it, and completely failed. And then at some point, they just started denying reality. And they just said, you know what, we're just going to keep telling everyone how great the economy is, and we don't care whether they feel it or not. Here was Karine Jean-Pierre from the White House podium in January of 2024.
It's clear Americans are starting to feel President Biden's strong economy. Wages have risen faster than inflation for 10 months in a row. The unemployment rate has remained below 4% for the longest stretch in 50 years. Inflation has fallen by about 2/3.
I mean, it's like Trump and the White House. First of all, a big part of what happened last night is that the whole first year of the Trump administration has been focused on almost everything except the welfare of the American people whom they supposedly were going to represent, the working class, the forgotten man, all that. It's been about bombing Iran and going to Israel and arming Israel and bombing Yemen. To his credit, trying to solve the war in Russia and Ukraine, building up now a war toward Venezuela. Everything, fighting to prevent the disclosure of the Epstein files. It's like I think a huge dent in people's faith and trust in Trump. And like none of this is solving anything in their lives that they care about. And so I guess like part of the reason they just did this primetime address is to show, hey, let's talk about the economy. Since I know you perceive we haven't done anything about it. But talk about the economy isn't what people want. They want to feel the results in a very tangible way. Here's just to give you a sense of the kind of media theme that proliferated during the Biden presidency. Here's The Hill by Stephen Clement, a Democratic Party partisan. October 28, 2024, just like the week before the election. The Biden-Harris economic record is much better than critics claim. So, I don't know, I maybe Trump will succeed where the Democrats failed. I think it's going to take a lot more than a 20-minute speech that was like, again, not a good Trump speech. Trump's talent is not those kind of speeches where he's like strictly constrained by time, reading teleprompter. It wasn't even a well-written speech. It wasn't well-delivered. I mean, I was following it because I thought I was going to talk about it, so I probably was listening more closely than anybody, and I found myself drifting. Like I don't know what it was. or what they thought they were accomplishing. And like a lot of people probably were watching their favorite shows and saw it because it got interrupted. And I guess they probably were like, okay, there must be something important happening. And then they heard like basically the equivalent of a Trump rally, but without any of the pizzazz or entertainment of a Trump rally. It seems very poor on every level, not just politically, but substantively. And if this war in Venezuela does continue to escalate and does happen in a way that goes beyond what it is now, that's just going to be more focus on things other than what people want the government to focus on. And you're going to have the Epstein file disclosure tomorrow. And so I think the problems of this administration will only continue to proliferate, and so much of it is their own doing.
Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.